Go swimming and not get wet. Hi, let's go gamble on a sugar bet. Let's go swim, let's not get wet. Let's go gamble on a sugar bet. Baby, get out, don't go yet.
Today, we're going to do a video on this here. It's a wheel horse 416 hydro. It belongs to a friendly friend of ours. It's got a 16 horse Onan on it. And she's been sitting outside behind the house for a couple of years. So we're going to see if we can get her going and get it ready for grass cutting season. And possibly send it back to him whenever he's ready for it. Alright, this first things first. Let's toss a battery in it. Let's see if she'll turn over. No, let's just turn the key and see what happens. Alright, there's a good sign. So next, we'll pull this air filter cover off and have a look at the air filter and the top of the carb and whatnot. There's a spare key. Oh, that old air filter is awful dirty. There, and everything looks good in here. Choke works. And we'll maybe give her a little shot of carb cleaner down the app. See if she'll fire off. That'll tell us if it's got compression and spark and whatnot. Well, she fired. That's good enough. We know that it's got compression, it's got spark. So, next I think we'll move around and we'll unhook that fuel line and crank her over a bit and see if the pump's pumping fuel out. Alright, let's pull this fuel filter off. There's the fuel filter pulled off. Now I'm just going to stick the end of this filter in a water bottle and we'll crank her over and we'll see if it's pumping fuel. It's pumping up fuel. Okay, let's pull this cover off and open up this carburetor and see what she's like inside. I have a funny feeling it's going to be full of water. And there's the top of the carb. Well, maybe just blow this all off, clean it out, and I'll get back with you and we'll take the top of that carburetor off and have a look inside. Alright, first things first, I'm going to pop this choke off. Now we'll pull the screws out and lift the top of that off. Okay, so there's down inside the top of the carburetor. Luckily we didn't wreck that gasket. We'll yank this needle and seat out. And actually she looks bone dry in there. There's a bit of dirt down in the bottom, but We'll maybe get the little screwdriver and we'll pop these jets out and just make sure that they're clear. I don't know if you can see down through that jet or not. That one's clear, we'll put it back in. Being very careful not to drop that down into the top of the carburetor. Now this one. Well, there's a bit of, let's see, get you to focus here. There's a bit of gunk on there. So we'll take and get some carb cleaner and clean this all out. Blow these holes out. Put it in the top of the carb, blow her all out and put her back together. She's all blown and cleaned out. We'll put this jet back in. We'll drop the needle and seat and float back in. And we'll slide the top of the carb back on. Now let's put this choke back together. The bolt with the shoulder on it goes to the back. Now we'll put the air filter box back on. And there, that's all back together. Now we'll move you around and we replace this fuel filter. Okay, let's put a new fuel filter on this. We're going to put this Briggs fuel filter on. Now it's a little bit yellow looking because it's older than I am. But it's part of some new old stock parts I have laying around, so we're going to use it. Clamps back on. There we go, new fuel filter installed. Okay, let's see if she's going to start. We'll give her some choke. We'll probably have to crank it until it brings some fuel up into that filter and fills the carb. And there she go. She started up. Put my hand over the top of the carb. Sometimes we'll draw extra fuel through the jets and whatnot, and if there's any water or anything stuck in them, it'll help to draw it through, and we'll put the air filter back together and all that, and we'll maybe take her for a drive around the yard. I take it when she fired up, if you look at the water, it shot all over. Right back to the stove. I would think she probably had a cylinder full of water. Alright, let's fire her up. Try the deck. Make sure it moves. I think she'll be ready to cut the grass this summer.